Now, it is very likely, it's very possible that it's an act of mail fraud, right? It really is. It's possible that it's an act of mail fraud and that it was somebody else's elaborate scheme. This is the mailing label, right? See this? What does that say? Do you see what that says? Can you see that? It says, mailroom, U.S. Supreme Court of the United States, 1 First Street, Northeast Washington, D.C., 20543, right? I know that. I've known that for a while, right? It's got the tracking number at the bottom. I mean, you know, if I'm squirreled away here and you can't, you might want to say, is that a real tracking number? Did it really come from the Supreme Court of the United States? Right? Because when they sent this one back, they also sent this, right? This is the date, presumably it was received. Now, is that an official recording by the Supreme Court, or did somebody make up a stamp and they're committing some sort of fraud? Well, you know what that is? That's securities fraud, right? But what if it's real? What if this is really the original letter I sent to the Supreme Court of the United States, and they're acknowledging it as received? You see the date there? Right? And then there's presumably this, right? 10 days later. Now, I'm really hoping that was not somebody's executive compensation, right? And they have these names here, and these names appear in the media all the time. Right? These names appear in the media all the time. There's people that are actually literally involved with. Right? Now, you could say, wait a second, isn't that the name of so-and-so, including somebody who's now president of the Senate, right? I mean, yeah, right? I mean, this wasn't part of somebody's campaign hedging strategy, was it? No. You don't think somebody would have done that? Well, I guess, does it really depend on what the campaign is? What is the campaign? Right? And, you know, you got these names, right? You see that? Respondent. 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 You see that? Respondent. 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 See that? See that? Respondent. 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 I mean, I really sent it. I really wrote it. I really sent it. I was on the streets at the time. I really wrote it, really sent it. My understanding was there was actually official. It was received. I received a letter back. And knowing what I know about the Supreme Court of the United States is that when you submit a original petition, including as pro se, they make a photocopy. They make an official copy, an official version of the petition, and they keep it on site. They keep it in their own files. And then they will send you back the original. If there's a problem with the original, they send you back the original with a letter describing what the implications are. What did this one say? Your case must first be reviewed by a United States Court of Appeals or by the highest state court in which a decision could be had. Now, this is not the same case that I attempted to submit later in federal district court once I got, you know, where I am now, right? It's not, but it is connected to the same original allegations. And the reason that this is important is specifically why it was that in the course of all of these respondents that were listed in a specific manner, there was a specific inclusion of, at the end, these two guys. These two names. Why would I request that the Supreme Court issue a writ of certiorari with the named respondents that also includes former Secretary of State James A. Baker III and former President of the United States Barack Obama? Why? because some transactions are so large, it requires an in-person on-site meeting. Especially if you're talking about very important matters related to tax evasion concerning gasoline. Right? Yeah. So, do I need to say that new evidence has become available and resubmit again? What were the constitutional questions? Were there constitutional questions? I got a statement of jurisdiction here. The first charge is sedition against the government of the people of the United States of America via passage of the 2018 federal budget resolution and authorization of appropriations perpetuating the pattern of racketeering activity through the federal legislative appropriations process. Specifically, concerning these charges, this charge refers to the first question concerning under whose authority, Congress or the President of the United States, was the process outlined via H-Con Res 71 designed and approved. And you see, the problem is, in all of these years, we have not gotten to that constitutional question. Congress keeps evading the question and putting what are supposed to be the duties of Congress off onto the people, including when it comes to the fiscal solvency or the fiduciary responsibilities of running the nation. And that includes keeping the nation safe from acts of domestic terrorism, including acts of terrorism that transcend U.S. borders. Right? That's all I'm going to say for this time. These charges against the alleged Capitol rioters are completely unjust. If they were involved in or put up to it by somebody else, then that is part of a defense that they can offer. But at the same time, they had a right to exercise their ordinary political process. And insofar as there is a constitutional government, there are also constitutional requirements in performance of one's duties as one that is a member of the government under the Constitution of the United States. And those constitutional questions have not been addressed either. Now, is crime a constitutional issue? Can there be constitutional issues that are considered in accordance with an effort to hold organized crime accountable? Absolutely. But again, we haven't gotten to the constitutional questions yet, have we? Well, just so you know, deadline isn't passed on something like this. That's not how it works, right? And I'm not bankrupted, and I'm not, what is the word? Seeding.